asks, do you have a condom? And I say, yeah, I do. She says, great, I'll be down in 2 minutes.
Colleges are looking at campus sex differently these days.
She thought she can get consent, and I was just sitting there like, what?
In fact, they're setting up their own courts to decide when sex becomes sexual assault.
Survivors should hold their campuses accountable.
But are the campus courts they're setting up dispensing justice or cutting corners?
You think that this is America. We have those rights. You don't have any of those rights on a college campus.
There is definitely a campus sexual assault hysteria going on.
And is the solution worse than the problem? Fox News reporting the truth about sex and college. And now, Martha McCallum.
Like so much else on college campuses today, sex has become deeply politicized. Matters that were once commonly understood are now up for grabs. What is consent? What is sexual activity? And most importantly, what constitutes an assault? We've long heard that government is best kept out of the bedroom. But as it turns out, in colleges across the nation, government is insisting that it be referee in life's most intimate moments. And far from resisting, activists on campus are inviting the government in. In fact, they're demanding that it do more. We investigated how the rule book on campus sex is being rewritten. And what we discovered may surprise you. John Doe, as we will call him, grew up in Northern California. A dedicated student who attended a magnet high school and had a passion for history.
I've always been a very good student. I wouldn't say straight A, but just around there.
A few years ago, John applied to Occidental College, a small private school located in the Eagle Rock area of Los Angeles, that his grandparents, as well as a young Barack Obama, once attended.
I was really happy that I got in. I like the small liberal arts kind of feel. Just felt like a good fit.
In his first week of classes, John met another first-year student whom we'll call Jane Doe.
She was in some of my international relations classes.
John Doe played on one of Occidental's sports teams and was invited to an initiation party. On the other side of campus, Jane was partying with her friends at Occidental's soccer match. We should note that much of the following information comes from Occidental's investigation report, obtained by John Doe's attorney. Jane Doe would not talk to us, and her lawyer was displeased we were even doing this story, while Occidental said it would not comment on the specifics of a sexual misconduct case. Back at the initiation party, John says he drank too much.
They had a sober member of my sports team drive me back to my dorm room, and I don't remember a lot of this. It's bits and pieces. My roommate had a couple friends over, and Jane Doe was one of his friends. I just remember kind of playing music and getting out of bed, and Jane Doe and I were on my bed just talking and I believe kissing. And at some point, she takes off her shirt and she's just in her bra.
Jane's friends, seeing she was drunk, took her away, back to her room on a separate floor. Before she left, she and John exchanged phone numbers. Soon, Jane and John were texting.
Over text, she asks, do you have a condom? And I say, yeah, I do. She says, great, I'll be down in 2 minutes. I say, okay.
Jane sneaked past her dorm advisor and headed for John's room. On the way, she felt sick and vomiting. A friend came by, brought her to the men's room, where she became ill again. After that, she went to John's room.
I don't have any recollection of this, but when she walked in initially to return to my room, she asked if I had any gum, and I said yes and gave her a piece of gum before we had sex.
They became intimate. At one point, John went to the bathroom down the hall. Jane's friends came by to check on her. They stood outside the room and asked her 3 times if she was okay. She said she was fine. They asked her if she needed help. She once again said she was fine.
I don't remember if we proceeded to have more sex or anything like that, but at some point I kind of decide that I don't really want to continue. I help her get dressed and she leaves.
The next day, Jane texted John asking if she could come by to get her belt and her earrings. When they met, Jane asked him if they'd had sex. John is almost certain they did. Turns out, it was her first time. After talking for a few hours, they decided to just stay friends. The following week, Jane was late for class.
Send her a text, where are you? Is everything okay? She says, oh yeah, I'll be in a couple minutes. And when she arrives, she comes in and sits down next to me.
To John, things seemed amicable. What he didn't know is Jane was uncomfortable about her night with him. Jane went to Assistant Professor Danielle Dirks, one of the group leaders at Occidental's Sexual Assault Coalition. Dirks was a long-time activist on the issue of assault. Jane did not describe her interlude with John Doe as sexual assault, but according to the record, Dirks believed Jane was raped and was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. John Doe's father has looked at the record and feels Professor Dirks was pushing for an accusation.
In her notes, Professor Dirks is saying, tell me about the rape or something like that, and Jane Doe said, oh, I'm not calling it rape yet. Dirks communicated to Jane Doe that she was in a strong state of denial and that every rape victim feels like they haven't been raped.
Like what?
According to Jane Doe, she learned most rapes
I
are
don't
done by
believe
repeat
that.
offenders
Anyway,
who
continue
will go
watching.
on to attack others. And once again, according to Jane's statement, Dirks told her John Doe fit the profile. A strong GPA in high school, class valedictorian, on a sports team, and from a good family. It was this line of thinking that was the impetus to charge John Doe with sexual assault. 8 days after talking to Professor Dirks, Jane Doe filed a report of sexual assault.
I got a phone call from the school's Title IX department telling me in no uncertain terms that I had to pack up my stuff and leave my dorm immediately, and there were officers there to escort me off campus.
John was taken to separate housing where he was isolated from the student body. On campus, John was labeled a rapist.
3 guys came up to me and basically just struck
Like
me in the face
what?
and hit me. I heard them bragging to a group of people about how they punched the
Nah.
rapist.
Anyway,
And I think that got me more than anything else. To hear them bragging about punching the rapist, I don't know, and not a rapist, the rapist on campus. That was hard.
To John, it had been a sexual encounter of a type not uncommon among young people, both on and off campus, across America. Something to be regretted, perhaps, but not assault. Even Jane Doe had not called it assault at first. He still remembers their long discussion the day after.
We talked for nearly 3 or 4 hours, and we chalk it up to a drunken mistake. And she says, I'm really sorry about everything that happened. I shared the same sentiment. I'm really sorry about everything that happened as well. I wish it was, a more special experience for everyone involved.
But now here he was, the campus rapist.